as just been said, I'm going to talk about training people to do what Johnny has been talking about at NHS England. So how do we take people from a broad range of backgrounds and actually give them a training that would bring them to the point at which they could make an active contribution to making the translation from AI into healthcare applications. So this is about 4 or 5 years ago when those talks took place. We bid for funding from the main research council in the UK, UKRI, to launch a doctoral training centre to train 50 people to do this in the health domain. And we were successful, and we're now into our final cohort of 10 students, and we've started training 40 cohorts so far. So I'm going to talk about a little bit about that and a little bit about what they've been doing and also the future. So this is the UKRI Centre for Doctoral Training in Artificial Intelligence for Medical Diagnosis and Care. It's a partnership. We couldn't do it without the Leeds Teaching Hospitals NHS Trust and with our industry and public sector partners. So we have a number of industry partners, companies like TPP, we have and large multinationals like Biosystems and Roche, and then locally NHS England, and particularly we've worked closely with NHS Digital as it was, that partnership has created this doctoral training centre. So all of our students, they do a master's to begin with, so they spend their first couple of years doing a master's program at half speed, translating from or transforming from a broad range of disciplines on input, which I'll show you in a moment, into being AI experts and able to do this translation. All of the PhD topics are supervised by an AI researcher from the university and a clinician. Normally somebody who's got a dual contract between LTHT and the university, but not exclusively. Some of our clinicians are actually exclusively on the NHS side. And then we're also focusing, we started out focusing on cancer because the university has a world-class reputation in cancer. We've broadened into the two other areas, or particularly two other areas where the university has an international reputation, one in cardiovascular and the other in musculoskeletal disease. And so those three areas are at the core of what we do. Doesn't mean we're exclusive. We do some other things, but largely most of our students are working in those three areas, which are the biggest causes of death worldwide. We can benefit from a number of other initiatives locally, so we participate in the National Pathology Imaging Cooperative, which is run by Leeds Teaching Hospitals Trust, and that is providing a massive source of new digital pathology images. I think it's something like 2.4 million new images each year, new pathology images each year are going into that data set, and they will be available for research purposes. So it's a very exciting, we're just at the tipping point, we're just at the point where that data is becoming available to be used, being pulled in from various hospitals. To begin with, it was around here in the region, but now it's actually nationwide. We've got nationwide partners in that collaboration. And then ultimately, it'll provide a platform, because all these hospitals are involved, it provides a platform for deployment of AI technology. And so, dream ticket is that some of the technologies that we're developing, and of course others, will actually find their way onto that platform for deployment in the NHS. We've trained 50 students, or we will have trained 50 students. We've actually got 40 on at the moment. These are just some of the photographs of our students on it's very much a cohort-based activity. So the students work together, very closely together, a lot of peer-to-peer learning. It's not a traditional PhD program. And they come from many, many different disciplines: computer science, information systems, physics, maths, electronic engineering, medical engineering, bionics engineering, biomedical sciences. And so there's a lot of work to do to begin with, and actually to bring them up to speed in things like just in programming. Some of them won't have done very much programming before, and they've got a lot to learn at the very beginning. But having got that under their belt, they then do machine learning and deep learning. And what we've found is, we've just had we had a joint conference with Imperial, UCL and Edinburgh, and our students were presenting at that. And I was really blown away by the quality, the knowledge that some of our students now have about the medical side of the problem. They know far more than I do about the medical side of things as well as the AI side of things. And it's that combination, bringing together the two sides, which I think is really important and will mean that these students can have a transformational impact by getting the AI into clinical practice. So just a little bit, I've already said that they do a master's at the beginning, but the vast majority of what they do is a PhD project, which is jointly supervised, and then lots of other activities that bring the cohort together. Some of our students are active clinicians. There are 2 at the moment, another joining us in October, and they are of huge value because they, of course, have been there and done it, and so they can really tell the students what it's like and give some context to the work that they're doing. But equally, they benefit from being around students, some of the computer scientists who are there. So there's a real interplay between the different kinds of students that we've got on the CDT. So I thought I would just give you an idea of 3 of the projects. These are not the best projects. They're 3 illustrative projects that use different AI technologies. So this is Mary Patterson, and she's working with another clinician, with a clinician, James Moore from LTHT, and Louisa Cotillo, who's a statistician. Those are her supervisors. And what she's trying to do is to take audio recordings, ideally from a mobile phone, and to look for the signs of laryngeal cancer from the recording. They have a real problem at the moment with people who have been referred into the service, triaging who to see first. And if you could do a simple audio analysis of the voice pattern of a person, you could then triage and get people to come in an optimal order in terms of only a very small percentage of people who are actually referred for possible laryngeal cancer actually have it. And so this is something that was suggested by James Moore, the clinician, and something that's now taken on a real lease of life. Another project, this is on chemotherapy following surgery for gastric cancer. Who will benefit? There's evidence to suggest that some people, mysteriously, just don't benefit from the chemotherapy. And so it's thought that it's got something to do with the distribution of cell types of different cellular structures in tissue, affected tissue. And so this project has been looking at the distribution of cell types in a rather different way. We've actually been building, what Joe Sims has done with this project is to build a structure of the relationships, the spatial relationships between objects as a graph structure. And there's a particular kind of neural network called a graph neural network that operates on graph structures. It's basically deep learning applied at each node in the structure. And you update a node, a value as a node, according to the neighbors of that structure using a deep network. And then you can come up with a single unified global variable or global output from that. And so what he's been doing is doing this in a particularly interesting way. He's developed a new way of doing this, which has the full graph structure at the bottom, and then actually, in order to get transmission of information around the graph structure more rapidly, he actually uses a series of lower and lower resolution graphs going up in order to move information around the graph structure faster and draw the necessary inferences you want to make. And this, as with Mary's work, we're publishing this in the leading places worldwide. And then finally, something completely different. This is Anna Grace Linton, and what she's been doing, again working with a number of clinicians, is looking at patient-reported outcomes, looking at natural language text and trying to produce a series of tags on the text, using standard tools to do that, but putting the whole thing within a medical context. And so these 3 projects just illustrate the huge variety. Now, what I wanted to finish by saying is that this is a really critical time for us because we're now at the end of we admit our final students in 2 weeks' time. And we've bid for another 55 or another 50 students from UKRI. The interview is tomorrow, so I'm going back from this to start cramming for the interview tomorrow. If we're successful, we'll have another 50 students. We're looking for really good people to join us. So if you know of people that you think would benefit from and enjoy a CDT, Doctoral Training Centre, then please do let them know, and we will be open for applications in January if we're successful. And the second thing is we're always looking for new projects, and we're looking for industry partners. We have a whole range of industry partners at the moment, and I'm sure there are people here who are already partnering with us. We would really like to involve other people in our Doctoral Training Centre to broaden it as widely as possible. The benefits are two-way. You get to meet students on the CDT, and there's potential employers there. Our current cohort, our final cohort, is highly marketable. They're in strong demand. We know anecdotally from various people we're working with that, one person told me the other day he could hire every single one of them. He can't, because they all don't want to do what he does, that particular activity. But they are going to go in different directions. Some will go into academia, some will go into industry, some will go into public services. If we're assuming we're successful, which we hope we will be, then there is a real opportunity for both companies, public sector organisations, and also individuals who are interested in joining us on the Doctoral Training Centre. It's really been a remarkable thing. I have to say, it's. I had huge hopes for it 4 or 5 years ago when we first started it, and it's really surprised me with just how successful it's been. The people who advised me that this is what we should do were right. It really has been a great experience, and I think we're really looking forward to having another 5 years of doctoral training. So thank you.